Good morning. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Happy Taco Tuesday to everybody. Get out there and support your favorite taco stand if you haven't already. And we've got some good news today. October CPI was excluding food and energy was flat, up 3.2% for the year, much below any analysts' expectations. CPI rose 0.2% and 4% versus a 4.1% estimate, smallest increase since September 2021. Energy was down 2.5% for the month. So let's take a quick look at our heat map, which actually is a heat map today. Almost everything is rising. Some oil issues are down. Healthcare is kind of muted. Communication services, consumer cyclical, financial, home improvement, and travel services, basic materials, utilities, you get the picture. Most things are up. As we do every morning, we recommend that 90% of the people should probably have an annuity where you don't have to worry about the bobs and weaves of the market. Some annuities are paying 40 to 45% bonus currently, and this helps beat index investing by about 5% per year. You can rest quietly, go about your life, not worry about financials. So that's that. Let's go to our chart. Greenwich Life Services is popping, as was Fidelity Blue Chip Growth, which we profiled yesterday, gapped up. It's getting pretty close to its pivot area. GLSI, I tried to buy some more yesterday, didn't hit my price, and it's up. And Zscaler, huge gap up, move up almost $9, up 5% today. And the other issue that we're looking at, FANG ETF is gapping up as well. It's up 2% today. Let's look at our US dollar. Big gap down on that inflation, CPI, massive. So this is great for stocks, especially multinational stocks. See what gold is doing. Gold is gapping up above its 20-day moving average. Generally moves in the opposite direction of US dollar. Silver, big time gap up as well. Bounces above its 10, 20, and 50-day moving averages. And next area is above the 200-day. And then let's take a look at our crypto. Interesting. Bitcoin has a big pullback here. And so does Ethereum. Ethereum is filling the gap right over here, down almost 8%. And Bitcoin is down about 4.3. And our 10-year yield is doing up pretty much what the dollar is. It got a gap down, and it moved up to its 50-day moving average and has been turned away. And our 20-year yield, big gap down, massive, down 4.5%. So there we have that. Let's look at our news for the day. International Energy Agency, IEA, raised its oil demand growth forecast for the year and next, despite expected deceleration in economic growth in all major economies for 2023. IEA raised its growth forecast to 2.4 million barrels per day. Let's take a look at oil pricing. They tried to move up and then pulled back just a tiny bit, 0.32%. German investor morale improved more than expected in November. Charlie Belletto tweeted, if the S&P fails to hit a new all-time high in the next month and a half, this would be the first year since 2012 without at least one all-time high. The Eurozone economy contracted marginally quarter on quarter in quarter three, falling 0.1% quarter on quarter in July-September period for a 0.1 on-year rise, 0.1% year-on-year rise. October NFIB Small Business Optimism Index 90.7 versus consensus of 90.5 and below the prior 90.8. So let's go on to our sector news. Home Depot, quarter three EPS, $3.81, tops consensus. And boy, do they like that. Jumps above its 50-day moving average and it's butting it, went above 200 and then sold off. Earnings came in negative 10%, 1.47% earnings surprise. Fisker, electric vehicle maker, said 4,725 vehicles were produced and 1,097 vehicles were delivered in quarter three 2023, delivered over 1,200 vehicles in October, exceeding entire quarter three delivery volume. Said now delivering in 10 countries, expected to add 2 more markets later this month. Kraft Heinz, upgraded to outperform from market performance. Bernstein gaps up and then closes on the low for the day. On holdings, quarter three net sales of CHF 480.5 million versus estimate 453.3. Initially sold off and then it's closing in on its high. And we got a 208% earnings increase, 55% earnings surprise, and yes, it sold down, and then fought back for the day. So on to energy, industrials, and materials. AECOM, quarter four adjusted EPS $1 versus 98 cents, and they are loving it. No, this isn't McDonald's. This is AECOM, but earnings up 22%, 4% earnings surprise, and we got a gap up, and it closed on the high of the day. We love to see that. So I would put that definitely in a watch list somewhere. Canadian Solar, quarter three revenues 1.85 billion versus estimate 2.03. Initially sold off. Their earnings came in at negative 71%, and it fought back at the end. Take a look at another one in the US end phase, gapping up today, up 16.35%. So that must be with the economic news. On to tech. Sold at 77% stake in steelmaking coal business to Glencore. Initially went up big time and then sold off big time. Down, up only 0.5%. And let's look at Glencore. Big gap up. Switzerland-based company engaged in production and marketing of commodities. Up 6.5%. Safran said it signed a series of contracts with more than 1.2 billion to equip Emirates Emira UL aircraft with equipment. Viper Energy announces offering of 9.02 million shares of common stock for holders. People don't like to be diluted, and stock sold off a little over 3%. The French government and utility EDF have reached a deal on future nuclear power prices of 70 euros per megawatt hour as reference level, and a compromise said they would allow EDF to be profitable while shielding consumers from sharp rises in bills. On to financials, the industrial auction subsidiary B. Riley Financial, together with Capital Recovery Group, today announced it will be offering complete wood mills for sale and conducting a series of public auction in support of the previously announced expansion of the global sourcing strategy of the AMES companies, a wholly owned subsidiary of Griffin Corporation. B. Riley is up about 10% today. Hardly believe it, but that is up 10%. Increase in volume of 281%. And Griffin Corporation, look at that huge move. That is up less than 10%, pretty close to 7%. Gapped up and closed on its high. Massive volume and earnings in one day. On to healthcare, Catalent delays 10G filing, saying needs more time to complete procedures related to assessment, measurement, timing of non-cash goodwill impairment of about 700 million. Anticipates reporting nearly 50% decline in COVID-related revenue for 3 months ended September 30th, year over year. But even with that, their stock is gapping up a little over 7%, closing near its high. Beauty Health Company, SKIN is a ticker symbol. That doesn't look good. Down 64%. Even my listing was shocked. It fell down on this news. Announced that Andrew Stanley will depart the company's president and CEO and relinquish his board seat effective November 19, 2023. Quarter 3 sales rose 9.7% year over year to 97.4 million, below estimate of 117.2 million on lower margins year over year, 62.5% versus 75.1%. And as cash and cash equivalents, 559.4 million, fall 18% year over year, cuts full year 23 revenue view to 385 to 400 million from 460 to 480 million. And it says, watch other aesthetics companies with this news. Take a look at Esta. Esta doesn't want to come up. In mode. I'm not sure what's happening here. I guess they're all shy to report. So I'm not sure if our recording ended, but Zoom cut out for a minute. So I may have to have this in 2 meetings. So here's in mode down. Let's see if Esta now will come up. Esta now comes up. I think we had an internet problem temporarily. Establishment Labs is up. 17% today. Kutera is up 28%, but can't even see it. Did move up here. It was down to, I guess, $1.50. And finally, RVNC is up 16%. So for the moment, they don't have anything in line with skin. Octafany Therapeutics entered into an exclusive global licensing agreement with Jazz Pharmaceuticals for up to $770.5 million to discover and develop drug candidates targeting two different ion channel targets associated with neurological disorders. And Jazz Pharmaceuticals is up 2.3% on the news. Viking Therapeutics announced the presentation of new results from an ongoing phase 2b clinical trial of VKT809, company's novel liver selective thyroid hormone receptor beta antagonist. And it is up 12.5% today. Huge volume. And Vine Therapeutics files for resale of up to 39.3 million shares of common stock. It's actually up today for that news. Life expectancy of men is 73.2 in the US, nearly 6 years shorter than that of women at 79.1, according to new research published Monday in JAMA Internal Medicine, Journal of American Medical Association, I believe. Life expectancy in the US has declined significantly over the past few years, falling from 78.8 to 2019 to 77 in 2020 and 76.1 in 2022. And I think a lot of that, or some of it, has to do with COVID. And before we go on, BLTE did announce their earnings. They were less than last quarter at this time. They had a loss of 40 cents a share versus, I believe it was 10 cents a share last quarter at this time. They announced how their drugs, they have a number of drugs in the pipeline that are going through stage 2 now for children. So we'll keep an eye on it. So it is pulling back a little bit to its 20-day moving average. I haven't adjusted anything in my purchases, and considering on this down trick, we'll wait to see if it bounces off the 20-day moving average and act accordingly. And NVIDIA added new features to H200, its top-of-the-line chip for artificial intelligence, AI, saying the new offering will start to roll out next year with Amazon, Google, and Oracle. H200 will overtake NVIDIA's current top H100 chip. So here's NVIDIA bouncing. Take a look at these other companies that were. Amazon is gapping up. Pretty good volume today. Google moved up above its 50-day moving average, but closed on its low. And Oracle is moving up. Looks like it's working on the right shoulder. It's definitely trending above all of its moving averages. It's 93%, 93 relative strength rating against the S&P 500. I guess since we're at it, might as well look at all the other big techs. Meta Platforms gapped up today. Microsoft gapped up after a slight pullback yesterday. Pretty good volume again. A lot of blue bars here. Netflix tried to move up and is pulling back. So that's that. Foxconn reported a surprise increase in Q3 profits, rising 11% year over year, helped by gains in non-operating income, but reiterated revenue was set to fall slightly for the year. Q3 profit was 43.1 billion, 1.3 billion, I believe, in US dollars, beating market estimates for an 11% drop. Amazon, which we just looked at, has reached a deal with Snap. See how this affected Snap stock. And it is gapping up big time. Look at that volume. And we had a double bottom here. 1070 would have been the buy point. And you would have been rewarded nicely today. Rumble widened its loss to 29 million. Actually, it bounced up on this news, or negative 14 cents from 1.8 million, or negative 1 cent a year earlier, as revenue climbed 64% to 18 million from 11 million, said average global monthly active users reached 58 million in the third quarter, 40 million of which were based in the US and Canada. Tencent Music out of China. Q3 total revenue fell to 6.57 won, 900.9 million, above estimates of 6.31 billion. The company rose 1.71 billion won from 1.06 billion. Year over year, paying users for its online music streaming service rose to 103 million in Q3 from 85.3 million year over year. And Xperi, Q3 adjusted EPS loss 8 cents versus estimate of 9 cents. Develops and delivers technologies that enable smart devices, connected cars, and digital entertainment in electronic semiconductor. And look at that move. Huge, massive volume. It's not the largest since its base, but it is enough to get your attention anyway. And Double Verify, 12.5 share spot secondary offering priced at 30.45. It actually rose on that news. That's surprising. Above its 200-day moving average, largest volume since its base. Take-Two upgraded to buy from hold at Deutsche Bank and raises target to 175 from 155. Gaps up on the news, but closed on the low for the day. Got a blue dot here. Highest point. I've got a little breakout and a relative strength line. Look at all this volume. Buying volume. Gapping up. And we got another gap up. So that's what we got to look at so far. And now let's bring up, see where money managers are moving their money today. IDCC, InterDigital, Zion's wireless modems and ICs used in notebook computers. I believe this, we profiled this yesterday as well. Huge move yesterday on pretty good volume, and even larger volume today. Take a look at, is this a new high? Not quite. It is moving up though. Appfolio gaps up, massive volume, and closes on its high. Very bullish. I'm not sure why that line keeps popping out like that. This is Shark Ninja. Gapped up, huge volume, 35 earnings increase in the recent quarter, 41% earnings surprise. Manufacturers, appliances, cleaning, cooking, food preparation. I believe they're on a lot of ads on television. Sell direct, I believe. Amphastar Pharmaceuticals continues this move up. It was profiled yesterday. Earnings up 203%, earnings surprise of 65%. It's a pretty strong move. It looks like a gap up today and gap up and run higher. And TD, interesting, trade desk was one of the highest sold yesterday, and now it's on the highest buying. It's up 6.6%. I believe the yield dropping had something to do with that, and inflation dropping. So we'll just keep that there. Net, Cloudflare, huge move today. They had their earnings a few days ago, up 167%, 61% earnings surprise, and a huge gap up and closes on its high. Here is one of the favorite stocks for last year. Look at this move. Yes, you would have some consolidation after a huge move like that. Is it going to be able to break out again? That is a big question. Not really a double bottom since this was a low, but it might be a triple bottom. We'll just have to watch. Had some good volume over here, good volume here, good volume here. Their earnings came pretty flat. But it is favorite, puts computers together with AI chips. So they're based in San Jose. Twilio, I believe they're in San Francisco, provides cloud-based platform that enables developers to build, scale, and operate real-time communications. Got a double bottom here. Got a gap up. It's got some room to go to get to the middle of the W pattern here, but we've got a lot of buying in here. Earnings up 315% to 56.5% earnings surprise. We got a mortgage company, Mr. Cooper, huge volume. Stock really didn't raise that much. It was only up 2%. And on to Everest Group and insurance, reinsurance, the insurance products of the U.S. up less than 2%, but huge volume. Must have been a little bit of selling there at the end. And what was down in price and such good news today? Viper Energy was actually pulling back after a big move yesterday and the day before. Did On pull back a little bit? Yeah, it did pull back, but fought back at the end. SE, a former leader in Asia, is down big time. Our earnings were 184% negative earnings surprise. That's never too good. AER, AirCap Holdings, slight pullback. It's working on the right side of its base. There's a lot of volume, but since it didn't really move too much, I would think there was a lot of buying that came in. Came down to the low here. Looks got close to our 10-day moving average and then bounced back up with that late buying. We got Celsius selling off. Is that a shakeout? We'll just have to wait in the next couple of days. Earnings came in pretty well, 136%. It moved up on those earnings and now is pulling back. Unum Group, big sell-off, down 2%. Cencora, another downdraft after they had moved up into their buy area. We'll just see if it can hold above this area. MicroStrategy is falling with Bitcoin's falling. It filled the gap over here. Question is, will Bitcoin go up now? Because they have so much of their treasury in Bitcoin, rises and falls with the price of Bitcoin. Health Equity down slightly, 2% today. And finally, Chicago Mercantile Exchange operates 4 futures exchanges. Gaps down 2.4%. I believe that inflation may have had something to do with it, maybe some of their products. And that's pretty much where we're going to end our show today. It's been mornings with, no, I guess we didn't look at our indexes. So let's do that first. The VIX falls. S&P 500, huge gap up. So I would believe that this would be considered a breakout. Definitely a breakout. 448.73 held most of its gains. RSP, that was even stronger. That was massive. That discounts the huge companies like Meta, Nvidia, etc. The big 7. QQQ, huge gap up as well, up 2.15%. Equal weight, much like the RSP, jumped even further. Didn't look quite as good as a QQQ, but we got a double bottom we're working on. 109.80. It would be the buy area out of a double bottom base. IWM. Wow, look at that gap up. Gaps up. So over here we had on the candlesticks, we had an inverse hammer, and that hammer really hammered through. Up 5.5%. Dow Jones. The hanging man did not really read through as volume just exploded today on the Dow Jones. It's up. Financials gapping up. We have a double bottom here. Cleared the double bottom of 34.04. So this would be a buy area for financials. Energy continues up. Communications gapping up. They cleared, this is a double bottom. Right here, it's cleared the double bottom, so this was a buy. Real estate gapping up big time with the yields dropping as they were. Look at home builders just as well. I was talking about this nice shelf pattern yesterday, and look at this huge volume over here. Highest since a base way over here. Biotechs bouncing as well. Huge move in biotechs. Technology is gapping up 2% today. Looks like, that's a breakout. Software, a huge move in software today. So big it doesn't want to come up. Hope we're not having another internet problem here.